Hello and welcome back to our new NASCAR talk show. Out, out of the racetrack, or out of turn four, or the start finish line. I'm your host today, and we got breaking news out of NASCAR. We got breaking news out of NASCAR. The NASCAR Garage awakened to the news of a major driver lineup this morning. Lineup shuffle among the Ford Performance Group on Thursday morning, seeing a title winner slated to vacate his championship ride. The reigning Xfinity Series champ to take hold of it and enter Xfinity Standout, making the move up to the Cup Series for the 2022 season. Team Penske confirmed 2012 Premier Series champion Brad Keselowski would depart the number 2 Ford after the season. To pursue other opportunities within the sport, Austin Cindric is set to make the full-time move to Cup to pilot the entry starting next season. Austin Cindric had previously been announced as the next driver to pilot the famed number 21 Wood Brothers Ford in 2022. Instead, that distinction will go to the 20 of Harrison Burton. That distinction will go to the 20 of Harrison Burton, currently the driver of the number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota in the Xfinity Series. Austin is a champion and has proven his abilities both on and off the track, said Roger Penske in the team's release. The Cup Series is a big step for any rookie, but making the move now in conjunction with the introduction of the new next-gen car makes sense. He has gained valuable experience this year competing in a handful of races at the Cup level, and he has shown that he belongs out there. Cindric wrote a 6-win, 19 top 5 season to last year's middle division title. His first at the National Series level, he's on a pace to repeat, with 4 wins in 2021 and a firm hold at the top of the point standings over former Penske driver A.J. Allmendinger. Brad Keselowski is set to depart Team Penske's ride at the end of this year, because he's been signing a contract with Roush Fenway Racing for a driver owner part owner deal at Roush Fenway, and he will, and I guess it's a done deal. He will head over to Roush Fenway Racing, and now it will be called Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. And then Kyle Larson lands extension full sponsorship with Hendrick Motorsports until 2023 for 2 more years. Rick Hendrick gave Kyle Larson a second chance in NASCAR because Hendrick Motorsports had wanted him in its lineup for years. Now that Hendrick has his man, he has locked Larson down for 2 more seasons with full sponsorship. Hendrick on Wednesday told us 93 dealerships that the hottest driver in motorsports had signed a contract extension through 2023, and Larson will be fully sponsored by HendrickCars.com. It may seem like sponsorship is all Rick Hendrick's money anyway, but the sponsorship for 35 races the next 2 years is paid from the marketing budget of Hendrick Automotive. The deal is somewhat unprecedented because the website will also sponsor Larson in his non-NASCAR events with branding on the nose of his dirt cars, helmets, gloves, and fire suits. 9 dealerships, the general managers, and the employees, they don't want anyone else on the car, Hendrick told the Associated Press, EAP. Larson joined HMS this season on the cheap after a nearly year-long NASCAR suspension. for using a racial slur. Sponsors were initially skittish, so the Hendrick website for new and used cars bought some of the ad space on a number 5 Chevrolet. The site has been on Larson's car in 14 races so far this season, but only 3 of his 5 NASCAR victories, a different sponsor was on the car. When Larson won at Charlotte Motor Speedway in May to take the Hendrick winningest team in NASCAR history, and the automotive group was not pleased. Hendrick told the AP his marketing team, Hendrick Motorsports, was actively selling Larson's sponsorship and had offers, but the team owner halted all conversations when his automotive group said it wanted the ad space. It bumped up about 20% once automotive committed. Hendrick said in a statement, "We had one deal for the whole thing, so I made them step up, at least match the offer, and they did that, and they did, they want as much as they can get." Top stars in NASCAR for years were identified by their sponsors, but the branding faded in an unsustainable economic model, and teams have been forced to sell ad space on their cars in chunks to multiple companies. Allied, a sponsor for Hendrick driver Alex Bowman, is the only company in the Cup Series with a full season of sponsorship, and HendrickCars.com would have matched that commitment if Valvoline had not already bought 3 races for next year on Larson's car. The deal is expected to continue through 2023. Larson has won a Cup Series high 4-point races this season, as well as the $1 million All-Star race at Texas Motor Speedway. He is the second in the championship standings and has won 10 times so far this year in non-NASCAR events. He races dirt tracks all over the country and has 56 wins since the start of 2020. Most of those coming outside of NASCAR during his 32-race suspension for using the slur while participating in an online race at the start of the pandemic. Entered Hinton at the automotive arm, keeping the sponsorship following Larson's win at Nashville last month, and said he wouldn't sell the number 5 car in piecemeal deal, because I think it's worth more than to me to do that. The data proved Hendrick right. Jackson said since the paint scheme was revealed in February, traffic to the HendrickCars.com website had exploded. 5 of the 6 highest traffic days this year followed races in which Larson contended with the website as his sponsor. He created the lead generation value of $1.8 million and over $5 million in television exposure, Jackson said, and we haven't gotten to the playoffs yet. 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson retired from NASCAR at the end of last season and inked a sponsorship deal with Carvana for his transition from Hendrick Motorsports to IndyCar. Carvana has made a significant ad buys during NASCAR races, but Hendrick Group incited it felt no competitive pressure to increase its presence. Look, Kyle's on track performance, and what we saw on the business side is what drove us to make the decision. Brian Johnson, Vice President of Marketing at Hendrick Motorsports, Hendrick Automotive Group, told the Associated Press. And he was a NASCAR favorite. He is a NASCAR favorite for the championship. And then Kevin Harvick rumors going around. And NASCAR rumors going around that he may buy that Kevin Harvick may buy JTG Doherty Racing. The rumor is that Kevin Harvick has the interest in buying JTG Doherty Racing and starting up his own NASCAR team again. Kevin Harvick Incorporated making its return. Find out. And the rumors going around. We had a rumor about drivers taking a different step in the different NASCAR teams. And then we had rumor. Now we do have the Atlanta Motor Speedway configuration already underway. Like, well, we had Trackhouse Racing buying Chip Ganassi Racing after this year. And now we're seeing a rumor about this. About 2311 buying out about Denny Hamlin, co-owner of 2311 Racing, thinking of buying out Richard Childress Racing, which the drivers are Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon, the 3 and the 8 car, have made their return. Going around the map, going around the country, we did see Atlanta Motor Speedway's reconfiguration starting this week, right after they raced Atlanta on Sunday. They already turned the track apart. They're already going to reconfigure the banking, redo the front stretch, and it's going to be an awesome racetrack next year to see. Atlanta Motor Speedway all done. See that big banking up in the air. See cars like going around 200 miles per hour like super speedway, like Talladega and Daytona. Well, instead of calling it Atlanta Motor Speedway, should we call it Atlanta Super Speedway? Yeah, let's call it Atlanta Super Speedway, because the banking would be up near 30 degrees, 28 degrees, and then the banking on the front stretch would be up 5 degrees. And Speedway Motorsports Incorporated owns that track. Like, they own tracks like Bristol, Sonoma, Kentucky, Atlanta, Texas. Let's see here. Sonoma, Texas. You have Sonoma. You have Texas. You have Bristol. You have Kentucky. You have Charlotte. You have Atlanta. Circuit of the Americas. You have Circuit of the Americas, which was debuted this year earlier in the season. That made 7 SMI racetracks. And Texas Motor Speedway had their reconfiguration already. They redone the banking at Texas 24 to 20 degrees in turns 1 and 2, and still 24 degrees in turns 3 and 4. And they put PJ1 on traction compound again, because we do not have practice or qualifying, except for new tracks that we go to for select races. If it's a new track, we'll do qualifying and practice. Whew. In our weather today, we're supposed to be seeing isolated thunderstorms throughout the day today. So far, mostly cloudy, but we will see that wind come through the area, and maybe some quarter-size hail. Maybe some quarter-size hail. Excuse me. Excuse me. So, stay tuned to your local weather radio or local weather station keep it trusted on accurate weather information as possible around the Amarillo area. And this was our first ever NASCAR news show. Like, NASCAR Racing Fan goes by NRF, and Eric E. Stepp, which is NASCAR Racing Analysis, down south in Texas. Down there around Typo, Texas? Something like that. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong about saying your city. I literally tried. But we did see a bunch of NASCAR rumors throughout the day. Like Kyle Busch won his got beat by his older brother Kurt Busch at Atlanta. Kyle Busch used all his stuff he had to get Kurt Busch back, but all his tires, he got old. He started running on old tires, and then it went downhill. He didn't even congratulate Kurt Busch. Golly, Kyle, you're really that mad because you lose? And Kyle Busch fans out there, if you ever hear him say it's all part of racing, and if you see him spin, you saw the Xfinity race at Atlanta, on that last restart before it went to overtime, he spun his teammate Daniel Hemrick out of the way. And what does he always say? It's always part of racing. Well, my opinion, you spun him out on purpose. And you say it's racing. No, it is not. Then Tony Stewart in the SRX and on his new wife, Leah Pruitt, the NHRA drag racer. That races top fuel drag racers in the NHRA. He is all up in the XRX, not NASCAR. Well, not my opinion. It's Stuart Haas's. It's all Stuart Haas's opinion. So let's just keep us updated on Stuart Haas Racing. From Stuart Haas Racing and Tony Stewart. One of these days, Harvick will get a win before the playoffs start, or we'll put our point our way in. Because there ain't going to be 3 different winners in 5 races. Because Daytona is the cutoff race. And there are going to be a bunch of people that'll get wrecked that are non-winners. So, will that save chances? We'll find out at Daytona with coverage on NBC. Then we take a 2-week break after this weekend's race at New Hampshire for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Why is it called 2020? Because it was canceled last year. Now it's 2020. Then they added 1. The letter 1. O-N-E. They were going to have it last year, but no, they couldn't because of the coronavirus. So we will see that in 9 more days. You can catch Tokyo Olympics on NBC. 2 weeks later, we head to Watkins Glen for the Go Bowling 225 at the Glen. That's right. All our racing sports on the NBC Sports family will be taking 2 weeks off for the Olympics. And you'll see Simone Biles When we taking part in the Olympics, we had one Olympic athlete that got disqualified for failing a drug test. What's wrong with that? How do they not see you? You get a failed drug test, you get kicked. Now you get kicked off the team. They should have did that once you failed the drug test that day. Like the Kentucky winner, Kentucky Derby horse winner. The horse failed the drug test. What's wrong with that? The horse failed the drug test at the Kentucky Derby. Well, there's nothing we can say about it. It's that drug test is over, and there's nothing we can prove about it. Phew. We're just talking about all kinds of sports. IndyCar, NASCAR, Olympics, Kentucky Derby. We haven't talked about Formula 1. Because we don't do Formula 1, we only do NASCAR, IndyCar. If it's Jimmy Johnson related. Or anything NASCAR related. And you can see more at the Eric E. Step channel. I will put the link in the description below so you can subscribe to his channel. And if you saw his last video when they were talking about JTG Doherty Racing, did you see a Ricky Stenhouse bumper on the 47? I know, right? Ain't that amazing, huh? Yeah. Well, we want to thank you for watching our first episode of Out of Turn 4, or the Start Finish Line show, or whatever name you want to call it. Put it in the comments. I will put the comments on. Put it in the comments of what name I should put on here. It's gonna do it for us. Like and subscribe, please. I do need 1,000 subscribers. If we go 1,000 subscribers, we go live for the first time. That's gonna do it for all of us. Like this video, share it, subscribe it. So long, NASCAR fans. Peace out.